Thanks, Tyler, and thank you for tuning in to the Amherst Weekly Report.
Hello and welcome to the Amherst Weekly Report from Amherst Media. I'm Karan Chaudhary.
And I'm Tyler Baraldi. Over the weekend was the third annual Art Sustainability Activism event held at UMass. The event was put on by the UMass Fine Arts Center MFA program for poets and writers, and the School of Earth and Sustainability. Various events took place, including readings of eco-literature, the live multimedia collaboration of Small Island Big Song, and the showcasing of various other artworks relating to sustainability and activism. The weekend events concluded with a 5-person panel discussion of artists, scientists, and activists, moderated by Noy Holland, a professor in the MFA program and faculty advisor for Paperbark magazine. Holland presented questions on how to understand and communicate the knowledge and beauty around sustainability, and what frightens or sparks hope in their work. One of the panelists and weekend eco-literature readers was Kim Blazer, a poet and prose writer, faculty for the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, and the founding director of the Inapo Indigenous Nations Poets. Blazer discussed her concern of, quote, failure to accept local knowledge when it comes to the collaboration with scientists on the topics of environment. Andy Danilchuk, a professor of fish conservation at UMass, expressed his concern as a scientist that it is often believed in order to maintain objectivity in research that we can't be activists. He says, quote, scientists need to be activists, and believes that through arts and science, we can collectively build these voices. Another panelist, Selena Leem, is a spoken word poet and climate activist from the Marshall Islands. She is a performer with Small Island Big Song and was the youngest speaker at the GOP. 21 for Paris Agreement. Leem discussed the importance in her own experiences with activism of, quote, the language we use is very different depending on who we communicate with. Furthermore, she shared that when communicating with others, respect is the most important thing. The other 2 panelists who quit their jobs after the 5th IPCC report and founded Small Island Big Song are Bao Bao Chen, manager and project producer, and Tim Cole, director and music producer. They both shared the importance of storytelling, and Chen said about the panel discussion that, quote, every time we share a space like this, it makes me hopeful. Cole explains how in Small Island Big Song, they wanted to focus on sharing beauty. The film is free from spoken narrative, which he says that, quote, another form of narrative is song. The events over the weekend created deliberate opportunities for connection to learn from each other and catalyze meaningful change.
Improving pedestrian safety in Amherst has become all the more important over the last few weeks. On February 22nd, 19-year-old UMass freshman Elena Lecor was crossing Massachusetts Avenue after dark when she was hit by a student driver. The paramedics rushed Lecor to the Bay State Medical Center in Springfield, where she was pronounced dead. The freshman, who came to UMass from her home in Mississippi, was crossing the street with a friend when she was hit. The friend was uninjured. Officials said rain and poor visibility may have contributed to the crash. Currently, the February 22nd accident remains under investigation by the Northwestern District Attorney's Office. A memorial stands by the side of the road near the spot where she was killed. Mass Ave is one of the busiest roads on campus for vehicles and pedestrians. It is a steep downhill road and has several pedestrian crossings. Students usually tend to speed on this stretch. There are no speed bumps, with rumble strips in place instead, or periodic grooves cut into the concrete, which elicit a buzz when a car passes over them. There have been 290 car crashes on campus over the last 4 years, 10 of which involved pedestrians, according to UMass police data. However, the data provided by the UMass police did not include crashes on North Pleasant Street. Of the pedestrian crashes documented by UMass police, half occurred on Massachusetts Avenue. More recently, 20-year-old Jacob Delisle of Northampton was responsible for a hit-and-run case involving a 20-year-old student. The student had been crossing Massachusetts Avenue in a crosswalk near Sunset Avenue on campus around 10:15 p.m. on March 21st. Delisle was released on a $5,000 bail and was ordered to not drive a motor vehicle and to remain off the campus. Police arrested Delisle at his home on Wednesday night, prosecutors said. He was held overnight on an initial $20,000 bail. And UMass since has then lowered the speed limit from 30 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour and is adding flashing push-button crosswalk signs, according to Ed Blakaszewski, a university spokesperson. He said to Western Mass News, and quote, "The university also continues to assess pedestrian safety across campus and will hire a consulting firm to analyze pedestrian safety, including potential improvements at crosswalks, sidewalks, and intersections. Those include a covered walkway on the south side of the street that is expected to be finished by this Friday, and the addition of push-button flashers across all crosswalks on the east and west side of the street." Amherst Media's May Craig went out to talk to UMass students about their thoughts on pedestrian safety.
Calls for pedestrian safety have been a growing concern at UMass Amherst after the recent hit and run incidents involving the death and serious injury of 2 students. I talked to a few UMass Amherst students and got their perspectives on what UMass can do to increase pedestrian safety around campus.
I think it's definitely safe in the middle of campus, but on streets like that one in Mass Ave, I feel like a lot more aware of my surroundings.
It's safe to walk, but like Mass Ave especially, like I cross there every day and the cars do go really fast, and like there's a lot of crosswalks, but it's like a long road and people like I get people have places to go, but they definitely drive way too fast.
So basically, I do think it's safe to walk around UMass campus though, but the thing is we have a ton of students driving around, ton of like townies driving around going a million miles per hour. It's dark as hell at night. There's no really street lights or street signs to really show where pedestrians are coming from. So I think if they had some more lights, maybe it would be a little more safer. But right now when you walk around campus at night, it's dark as hell. You can't really see anything. So if you're wearing all black like I am today, there's a chance that you get hit by a car because the person doesn't see you coming.
I think definitely like flashing signs at the crosswalks would help, and they definitely have a lot of police presence, but there's only so much that can do. I've heard of like talks of just shutting down Mass Ave for cars and making it pedestrian only, but other than that, I really don't know any ideas.
I think like having the crosswalks with like the lights, especially like when the lights are flashing, people definitely stop. But I think they need more of those and things like that.
I think one thing they could do is definitely add more of those little crosswalk lighter things they put up for when you go across the street so the lights flash so people can actually see pedestrians walking by. 2, lower the speed limit maybe because everyone drives around here going fucking 50 miles per hour. Oh, do you mean cuss? Everyone drives around going 50 miles per hour like they're in need to go somewhere really quickly. But the thing is if maybe we had like a cop or something there to like give people tickets, people would be less inclined to speed so people wouldn't get ran over and hurt.
From Amherst Media, this is May Craig, Amherst.
V1 Vodka is looking to begin production locally. The company was founded and is currently based in Hadley. It makes its drinks in a 136-year-old distillery in Poland, where 15,000 liters of vodka can be made in a single day. Last month, V1 Vodka's owner and founder, Paul Kazub, told the Amherst Planning Board that he is looking to acquire land off of Cemetery Road. There, he would construct a 3,000 square foot building where the company would focus on testing and development. Kazub said he would like to incorporate some of the fruits that are grown in the local area into the V1 products. V1's world headquarters are currently located in a former Catholic church building on Route 9 in the town center.
This Saturday, a Ukrainian egg decorating fundraiser will take place at the Mill District Local Art Gallery from 12 to 3 p.m. Attendees will learn the art of Ukrainian-style egg decorating from local artists Melinda and Jonathan of Makel Designs. 100% of ticket sales will support and be directly delivered to refugees fleeing the violence in Ukraine. The founders of Dean's Beans in Orange, Massachusetts, are helping to support this cause. Dean and Annette Sykon traveled to Poland to work directly with local organizations to provide monetary assistance and other resources on the ground. Anyone ages 12 and up is able to purchase a ticket. If you plan on attending, make sure to wear clothes you don't mind getting stained. You should also plan to be there for the full 3 hours, as the decorating is a, quote, delicate and beautiful process.
The UMass COVID Testing Center is ending on-campus testing for Amherst community members. Amherst Media's Asia Reed went out to talk to local residents about their thoughts on the issue.
On February 28th, Governor Baker ended the mask mandate for grades K through 12. On March 9th, the university did the same. The following day, the town of Amherst followed in pursuit. And this Thursday, UMass will be ending all on-campus testing for non-UMass residents.
Accessibility-wise, it's probably a bad thing because a lot of the community, when I was working at the testing center, they really found that UMass was very accessible to them and it was easy to get a test here and very quick actually, whereas a lot of places in the surrounding of Massachusetts is a lot harder to get tests. But
at this point, it just came down to finances, I think, from UMass because it was the state of Massachusetts that was funding it. I think people underestimate how much the tubes actually cost. We get a stack of 100 tubes just in one case, and each of them costs $100. So each time we go through hundreds, it's already $1,000, and we go through hundreds of tests a day. So at this point, without the funding from the state, I don't think UMass can keep up with the amount of non-residents coming in to test.
Amherst only has 2 testing sites right now. Do you think that we should have more, or do you think it's necessary that we're cutting back right now?
I think we should and we shouldn't have more. Honestly, it really depends on what people think about in testing wise, but I think we're 2 years into this now and they're trying to kind of normalize things, which I guess could be a good and a bad thing.
I do think for people who didn't have access to other testing or can't pay for self-testing kits, it definitely is hurting them in a way, but at this point, with all the vaccinations and stuff, all the testing was slowing down. So that's why the state of Massachusetts did pull out of funding anyways, because it was slowing down. So at this point, I think it'll be okay.
Asia Reed, Amherst Media, Amherst.
The Spring Flower Show returned to Amherst for the first time since 2019. Held by the Amherst Women's Club, the show boasted the sale of flower arrangements, evergreens, flowering shrubs, landscaping photo cards, and a variety of other plants and flower-related gifts. The event was one of the first in Amherst to be shut down at the start of the pandemic, but made a joyous return to the club this past Saturday. Amherst Women's Club member Sinaida Batista discussed her pleasure with the return of the event.
So it was actually a return in-person flower show after 2 years. And that actually was very exciting for everybody, all of the members that pitched in. And some of the women that attended actually told us that this was actually the first time that they had gone out after COVID. It was significant to a lot of people. We realized afterwards how so many people came out after 2 years of lockdown. And we were so happy to see how happy people were to be out doing an activity. We've been around for 130 years providing assistance in different ways. And since the start of the organization, they have looked at what's needed in the community, and that's how they have determined how to spend the money.
This year's participating sponsors were Atkins Farms, Gardner Supply Co., Wansick Nursery, Big Y, Whole Foods, and Trader Joe's, as well as members who donated flower arrangements, vases, and other gifts. Sarah Collette of Atkins Market Floral Department gave a presentation about vase selections, water treatments, and tips and tricks on how to cut and arrange flowers. The AWC members also prepared tea sandwiches, and other treats that the guests were able to enjoy throughout the event, which also included a silent auction for a garden design consultation with Carol Pope. $5 was charged for admission, and the money raised goes towards scholarships for Amherst Regional High School, seniors, and grants to the Amherst Boys and Girls Club, the Amherst Senior Center, and the Amherst Survival Center. The Women's Club currently has 80 members with a goal of inviting to join and, quote, discover the simple joy of connecting with neighbors, being inspired by local speakers, and enjoy each other's company while forging new friendships and a sense of belonging among a spectacular community of women. Batista also emphasized how new members help the club continue to do these types of events and donations within the community. Upcoming events at the Amherst Women's Club include a wine tasting on April 9th, as well as a birdhouse silent auction later in the month. Regular meetings take place on the first and third Monday of each month at 1:30 p.m. and the second Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. from September through May. To learn more about becoming a member, you can email Amherst Women's club35triangle@gmail.com. Now, back to Tyler with this week's sports report.
Thanks, Kern. Following their A10 championship victory, Minutemen hockey entered the NCAA tournament as underdogs against Minnesota. The game started out in UMass's favor as the team jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first period, before scoring again in the second to bring the game to 3-1. Minnesota would rally, however, scoring 2 unanswered in the third before just edging out with a final goal in the overtime period to win 4-3. Reed Lebster scored 2 of UMass's goals in the contest, while Garrett Waite scored the remaining third. Despite the loss, the A10 champions had a lot to be proud of this season, finishing 22-13-2 and seeing Bobby Trevino win his second consecutive Walter Brown Award, making him just the 4th player to ever do so since the award's inception in 1952. On top of this, junior Matthew Kessel and sophomore Josh Lopina were both signed to entry-level contracts with the St. Louis Blues and Anaheim Ducks NHL teams respectively. While their tenures as Minutemen have reached their end, we wish them both the best in their professional careers and can't wait to see what next season has in store for UMass hockey. The search for UMass basketball's next head coach has finally subsided, as Coach Frank Martin has been selected to replace Matt McCall. Martin brings 15 years of collegiate head coaching experience to the program, with previous tenures at South Carolina and Kansas State dating all the way back to 2007. In Kansas, he led his squad to the NCAA tournament 4 out of 5 years, while also winning the Big Ten Coach of the Year honor in 2010, before joining the Gamecocks and bringing them to their own Final Four appearance in 2017. It's also worth noting that Martin's wife, maiden name Anya Forrest, was a track star for UMass in the mid-90s and is a former Atlantic 10 champion herself, so this new hiring is also somewhat of a reunion. In a press release, Martin said, "Anya and I have never been more excited to call a place home like we are with UMass. It's evident that there is tremendous alignment in place to win and do it the right way. We cannot wait to be in Amherst and represent that community and our incredible university. Let's all get on this ride together, let's dream big, and let's be relentless at making our dreams a reality. Let's win, go UMass." Hopefully with our new head coach at the helm, we'll be able to live out our tournament aspirations for years to come. In a year where championships have flown like water, it's only fitting that the Amherst women's swim team would take home their first ever state title as well. And they did exactly that, edging out Marblehead by 39 points in the contest. The Hurricanes peaked at the perfect time, winning 3 events at their meet on top of 2 silver medals. Junior Lucy Smith played a large role in the victories, as she had previously captured state championships in 50-yard and 100-yard freestyles prior, helping propel the team to its first sectional title. As previously mentioned, this was the first time the Amherst women's swim team has ever won a state championship, making this victory as improbable as it was electrifying. Rounding out with UMass baseball, the team currently stands at 8-7-1 following a 3-game series against Towson. The series started on Friday and saw UMass lose 7-9 as the Minutemen weren't able to come back from an early 4-1 deficit in the first inning. The following 2 games would see UMass come out on top, however, winning 4-3 and 5-4 in the remaining 2 games, with grad student Drew DiMartino being the standout performer in both, nabbing a home run in Saturday's contest and a season-high 3 RBIs on Sunday. UMass will next play UAlbany on the road on Wednesday, March 30th at 1 p.m., before entering another 3-game series against A10 rival St. Joseph's at home.
Thank you for tuning into the Amherst Weekly Report from Amherst Media. I'm Karan Chaudhary.
And I'm Tyler Baraldi. We'll see you next week.